Hey guys, and welcome back to Nix The Suit. Today we'll be discussing the pros and cons of living the digital nomad lifestyle. So, if you go to any blog that's focused on being a digital nomad, chances are you'll be bombarded by images of people drinking cocktails by the beach, watching a sunset while they type away at their laptop. I'll be honest, it kind of irks me that this is what we're met with when researching how to become a digital nomad and what goes into living that lifestyle. As someone who has lived this lifestyle on and off and finds themselves currently living in South America, I can tell you it's not all fun and games. The point of this video is not to intimidate you and make you lose sight of your dreams of living a life full of freedom, but I do think it's very irresponsible of bloggers to only highlight the positives and not go into the cons and hiccups that life on the road can bring. Someone who's fully prepared with all the facts is less likely to encounter these problems and more likely to overcome them if they do come across them. So, my goal here is to give you the whole story, the good and the bad. So, let's start off with the good. I have so much to be thankful for, and a lot of the good that has entered my life the last 8 years can really be accredited to living abroad. While I will always love my country and give it props, there's something to be said about leaving home, or better yet, leaving the familiar. Something happens to a person when they are thrown into a situation or place where they know no one and are not familiar with the customs. In these kinds of situations, you only have two choices. You either sink or you swim. And luckily for me, living the digital nomad lifestyle had me flourish and even find strengths that I didn't even know I had. With that said, here are some of the pros that you may encounter on your journey. Complete and utter freedom. So, when I say freedom, I'm not talking about the kind of freedom you get from, not being in an office and having your boss breathing over your shoulder. This is a complete different type of freedom. This is freedom where you can truly be yourself and not have to worry about keeping up appearances. When I first ventured out of the United States and started living a minimalistic lifestyle, I transformed into a new person. The things that consumed my every waking thought were just mere afterthoughts now. Getting away allowed me to really listen to my inner me and not the opinions of others, which was the greatest feeling of freedom I have ever had in my life. Another pro is you'll start saving money. If you're staying at hostels, living out of your backpack, and doing cheap gigs on Fiverr and Upwork, then this will most likely not be the case for you. On the other hand, if you're an individual who has a thriving online business, or you work from a company that pays well and allows you to work remotely, then you're probably in a really good place. I've actually been on both sides of the fence and can tell you from personal experience that once you get settled in with a good source of income, you'll be able to save big time. Back in the States, no matter how much income I made, it was never enough. With more money came more expenses. You would think traveling would make a big dent in your savings, but if you're smart about it and learn how to live like the locals, you'll be able to put some cash away for a rainy day. Inspiration starts to flow. Now, being around new people, new music, new foods, and smells really gets your brain activated and going. During my first years of living abroad, I found myself thinking of problems I could solve for people online, which opened up the gates to numerous online business ideas. I honestly believe my years working remotely have found me working my hardest, but rarely do I feel exhausted. There's something to be said about waking up every morning knowing that you are living your life 100% the way you want to. I can't think of anything more inspiring than that. Your networking will go into hyperdrive. You'll be surprised by the amount of digital nomads wandering the earth, especially if you're visiting main traveling hubs. I can be a pretty shy person, but even I found myself gravitating toward my own people, if you will, and sparking up conversations about our old hometown and our new adventures. While most people have this notion that digital nomads are smelly looking hippies that jump around from place to place, you'll come across many successful entrepreneurs. My advice to you is to start networking from day one. Finding work or setting up a new online business as a digital nomad can be difficult, and you never know who you may meet that can help you on your journey. I've personally connected with people in my travels that have ended up being employment opportunities, even investors and employees for my businesses. Improve quality of life. Now, this is not the case for everyone. Unfortunately, in my years living abroad, I've come across individuals whose life have imploded with drugs and alcohol. I mean, the last 3 years alone, I personally know of 5 individuals who are now full blown addicts. While this happens to some, others go a different direction and end up actually cleaning up their lives. It may come to no surprise that we in the United States have one of the unhealthiest diets in the world. Other countries eat so much better. I found my diet now to consist more of fruits and vegetables than meat and processed junk. During my travels, I found myself walking more. I'm actually in better health now in my late 30s than I was in my late 20s. Get into new hobbies. When you're jumping from city to city, meeting new people along the way, you start to get a bit more adventurous. The good thing about constantly traveling is that there are always new things to do. My last few years living in New York City, the mecca of the world, mind you, all I did was go out to eat and drink. And it's not because New York City didn't have more to offer. It was just a matter of me living there all my life and pretty much doing everything there was to do. Not the case when you're constantly on the move. You'll find new hobbies popping up left and right. Believe it or not, blogging was one of those hobbies that I actually developed during my travels. And now for the bad. Unfortunately, with the good comes some bad. As I mentioned earlier, my intentions are not to scare you out of this great experience, but I want to be transparent and try to help any of you out there that may be thinking of taking on this type of lifestyle. With that in mind, here are a few cons you may encounter when living the life of a digital nomad. You've really got to hustle for your money. If you don't have a steady stream of income coming in and have not been working remotely before jumping into traveling and working, then you have your work cut out for you. Finding employment online and being able to work from anywhere in the world is not easy. When you can't find a job that'll pay you a salary, you need to go out and produce your own product or brand. There's a reason why so many digital nomads have blogs and YouTube channels. They're all hustling. Loneliness and relationships. Unlike most people that go into a honeymoon phase when they start traveling, I actually ended up going to the depression. There's a difference between going on vacation and knowing you'll be back to your friends and family in a few weeks, and selling all your stuff and moving to a new continent. The fear of being alone kicked in the first week I got to South America. I was finding it really difficult to let my guard down and let people into my life. 2 months in, and I almost took a flight back to the States. The reason I stayed was my father, actually. As someone that moved to the United States when he was young and didn't know anyone, my dad knew exactly what I was going through. His advice to me was to stick it out and keep going and meeting new people, even if I didn't feel like it. His reasoning behind this was that eventually I would come across a person that would change my whole perspective of where I was, and that I'd start seeing the beauty of my surroundings. Bad internet connection will ruin your day. As a digital nomad, your lifeline is the internet. I mean, this is the way you make your money to eat and shelter yourself. I can't even recall the number of times my internet connection did not allow me to finish up a piece of work or get on a call with a client that had been scheduled. In the beginning, I would totally stress out about this, but I soon learned to accept the fact that internet usage would not always be available. It just is what it is. I started combating this by making sure I did more research before looking into an Airbnb or hotel. No fixed workplace. You're probably wanting to be on a beach somewhere, drinking your little cocktail, making your money. But today I have one question. Have you ever actually worked on a beach? I mean, I have, and it's not fun, I'll tell you. Sand blowing all over the place. You can't see anything on the screen due to sun glare. You're sweating your butt off. That's not for me. I need my restrooms. I need my air conditioner, my coffee machines in order to be content working. When I first started off, I was actually working out of hotel rooms, and that really wasn't any better. The best option that I found was to rent an Airbnb that had a dedicated workspace. If you can't afford those type of luxuries though, the next best thing is to find a co-working space. These have actually been popping up all over the place over the last few years. Too much partying. It's normal to want to go out and have a good time when you get to a new location, but you gotta be careful, guys. The constant partying can easily get out of hand. The fact that there is always something new to do and see will keep you out all day and all night. If you're not careful, you'll burn yourself out quickly. Try to keep things balanced in your life and always remember to make some me time. You'll miss your favorite foods. I still get huge cravings for New York style pizzas, bagels, and knishes. Nothing I've had during my travels even come close. While I have had some great meals living abroad and am grateful for each and every one of them, I still get homesick for my American cuisine. For me, it's not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind if you are a very picky eater. In that case, make sure to go to countries that serve up food similar to your taste. So you've got a choice to make. Hopefully this video has shined a light on what we digital nomads really go through day to day. Remember guys, knowledge is power. If you're on the fence and have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll make sure to get back to you.